I found myself walking on eggshells
Mhm.
and I was making myself less. And I think that when we go against the core of who we are and our being and our knowing, that we know our body knows if we really sit with it. And I think it just got to a point where I was like, fuck this. I'm out. Like, I deserve so much better than what I'm being given. My children deserve so much better. I don't ever want my son to treat women like this. And I don't ever want my daughter to think that this is a normal way to be loved. This is not love.
This is It's Giving Phoenix, where we explore what it really takes to rise. I'm Megan, and each episode dives into the moments that break us, shape us, and ultimately rebuild us into something stronger, wiser, and more aligned. So,
Yay.
wow. Okay, so this is episode 1 of It's Giving Phoenix. And I just want to add a little bit of context since it is episode 1. For those that don't know me, I have another podcast called Hot Girls Build Cults, and it's been going really well. Been gaining a little bit of notoriety. I have been sitting with It's Giving Phoenix on my heart for a few months now, and the context around this is the last 6 months I had been undergoing chemotherapy. And one of my rituals, so to speak, was I would go on an evening walk and I would listen to a podcast. And I just was craving more stories around people that were going through tremendous hardship or reinventing themselves later in life. Not only did I have cancer in 2025, but my career and my 8-year relationship also collapsed. And so it was a full year of burning everything down. And I started having this conversation on Threads. And every time I would kind of hint at doing a podcast, I got a tremendous response. And I'm like, okay, I already have one podcast, but it feels like I need to lean into this one as well. So with that being said, I'm so honored. Today, we're sitting down with Tori Hayden, who is an energy worker and transformational photographer who helps women reconnect with their bodies, their truth, and their natural magnetism. Her work focuses on shifting women out of control and into flow through different practices so confidence becomes something they feel, not something they fake. She also is deeply passionate about community, creating spaces where women feel safe, seen, and empowered to fully own who they are so they can step into their unapologetic, grounded, bad bitch energy. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited. So Tori is someone that I connected with on Threads, and I was really curious about her story. So I guess like a really great place to start is like, let's just do a little bit of like a TLDR of your Phoenix Rising story, and then we can kind of like we can walk through the stages and really kind of dig in.
Yeah, I love it. Um, I guess for me, my big moment in my life where I realized that I needed to burn everything down and start over was ending an almost 12-year relationship with the father of my children. I was married and I was 30 years old and I stopped having my period and I went to my naturopath and he was like, "Well, are you stressed out? Because your hormones look like you're going through perimenopause." And I was
Wow.
like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, so do you want kids? Because I guess you can let your body go through it, or we can figure out like what you want to do." And it basically, when he asked me if I was stressed, I immediately started crying and talking about how stressed I was in my marriage. Which I had felt for years, but had never had somebody kind of like validate that I was actually experiencing something that was affecting my health. So then I had this awakening moment where I realized that I was never going to live this life that I desired if I stayed stuck in this relationship that was damaging my health, like, messy I mean, entirely, right? Like, my entire nervous system was in fight or flight, and it was, like, always in fight or flight. I was never able to just, like, rest and breathe and be okay, and my kids weren't either, and so I realized that I needed to leave. So I left at 30 years old. I took my kids and left and I rebuilt everything. I started, as a single mom and rented a house by myself. I lived with my mom for a little bit and then found my own place. And I still remember like getting a U-Haul and going and picking up items from Craigslist that I was buying and like literally rebuilding just from nothing because I didn't take anything from the house because I don't know if it was that I didn't want to or that I just didn't. I kind of think it was just like I needed to leave it and just rebuild. Yeah. I mean, that's, like, personally my journey of, like I've had, like, 2 big burn it down moments of, like, things that I've, like, ended a relationship with, and, like, that was, like, ending a big relationship with a human, with a person that was, like, not good for my health. Unfortunately, found myself in another unhealthy relationship for another 3 years. I was and not done learning my lesson, but
You just keep getting that same lesson until it's learned, right?
you did. You do, and then I fortunately didn't take me as long, recognized what was happening, ended that. Um, Actually, that year was 2019, and ironically, I had hired a coach that year. It was, like, the first time I had ever really invested a lot of money other than going to conferences and stuff. I spent $5,000 and I hired a coach. And I remember I had my biggest, like, month after hiring this coach, and I was a speech therapist at the time, and I remember being like, "What am I doing? Like, why am I working in a school? I could have so much more time to devote to this passion of mine." And so in
Sorry, back
2019.
up a moment. What was your
Yeah,
big month in? What were you doing?
I'm sorry. So I am a photographer. I did
I was
not
like, "Wait,
even say that.
put the brakes
Uh
on."
Yeah. So, let me rewind. I started getting into photography, you know, when my kids were little. I just loved capturing moments, right? So I did photography and I did it kind of like many women that you'll speak to kind of have this journey of like awakening to like how precious moments are. Um, so I did families and all these things when I got to weddings. And weddings and portraits were like my main jam, which is what I was doing in 2019 when I hired this coach. And I hired him, I think it was March of 2019. I had this really big month. It was the biggest month I had ever had. I think it was a 5-figure month. So yeah, I was like, fuck yeah, like what am I doing in a school? I quit. So I quit. And it was right before COVID. So, like, 2019 hit, right? Or 29 it's
Right.
like 2019, the school year of 2019 starts in August, and then, like, 2020 hit, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm kind of glad I'm not doing speech therapy online right now."
Right.
So yeah, so I continued to work on my business, but within working on my business, I also recognized because I was working on myself that the relationship no longer aligned with me. And I do think that there's something so important that people have to understand that if you are with somebody that is toxic and you are with somebody that is literally dysregulating your nervous system, there is only so much growth you can make before it crashes and you can't keep doing it. You can't keep running in this cycle of trauma.
What do they
So,
say, like, you can't heal in the same space that the trauma originated?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
really, ultimately, yes. I mean, I knew I had to be done. And so I ended my relationship just a few months after I quit my job. So again, I quit my job. I ended another toxic relationship. And really that's when, like, I got to prove to myself that I could make it as by myself, all by myself with my kids. I actually even fostered 2 little boys for a year and a half. So I was a single mom of 4 kids that were living under my roof, and it was a journey.
I think this is a really great place to dig in a little bit. So, yes, your first relationship that you left, it was a 12-year relationship, and that's not minor at all. That's, over a decade cohabitating with someone and they're your family. And I really want to know what it looks like what your health actually looked like that prompted you to go see a naturopath and explore like just that first step. Like what did it look like? What did your symptoms look like? What was your body doing in this relationship?
That's a really good question. And I think it's also really important.
Because the body is the first to know. Like
Yeah.
your mind will deny, 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 but your body is usually screaming for change or that it's letting you know something's not working.
Yeah. My body knew. My body definitely knew. I mean, I said that like I didn't have periods, which was very irregular, which was not normal for me at 30. I was having very regular periods. I was that was weird. But why I really was working with the naturopath was that I didn't want to have sex ever. And I literally thought I could have lived an abstinent life. I was like envious of nuns. I was like, wow, they're so lucky. They don't have to have sex with their husbands because they don't have one.
They don't have someone nagging them to have sex because your body's just like, absolutely not.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my brain was trying to trick me and tell me like, no, it's like it's good, like you have an orgasm, so it means it's good. And I talked to so many women that didn't. So in my mind, I was like, well, I must, like I'm having good sex because I'm orgasming. And sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to like say
You're
that
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
I think this stuff needs to be talked about. I mean, I think I'm definitely someone that brings up, how's your sex life to my girlfriends because I'm like want to make sure
Are
they're
you
good.
listening to your body? Like, did your body trigger perimenopause at 30? Like, maybe you should leave.
Literally. So, I mean, so I went and actually started testosterone, which is crazy because I was like, "Oh, it must be me. It must be my sex drive. It must be testosterone causing it. It couldn't be that my body is shutting down because it does not feel safe with the person that I am married to." So, that's what prompted going and seeing the naturopath was, a lack of sex drive. I, was crying all the time. I did not feel safe.
Yeah.
It was a very, it was never physically abusive, but it was definitely verbally and mentally very abusive.
Which is so slow and insidious and harder to recognize the signals because I think so many women are like, well, he wasn't hitting me. So, like, at least I wasn't dealing with physical violence. But it's so, yeah, like I said, slow and insidious. But something I want to point out that I think is really interesting was your first instinct to see a naturopath as opposed to like a regular doctor because I'm hearing your story and I imagine the scenario where, like, obviously, they would probably explore why your period stopped, but I think or the rest of the stuff would just be like, "Oh, are you depressed?" Like, they probably just would have put you on antidepressants, where the naturopath is like, "Hey, I think, like, collectively there's something else going on, like, how stressed are you?"
Mhm. "How's your marriage?" was one of the questions, and I was like,
Yeah.
"It's not good." And ironically, this is so weird. My ex-husband was also seeing this doctor, and so we both saw him, and he was like, I will never forget this doctor was very real. He was like, "It's very weird, your relationship. Like, I would never have put the 2 of you together." I was like, "Really? Why?" And he's like, "He's seems very, like, kind of controlling like, in control, and, like, you seem like you're" like, I think what he said was, "You both seem like you're very, like, alpha-y." Like,
Mm,
I'm very assertive, and I speak my mind, and I don't back down. So, obviously, when you do that with a partner, when you stand up to a partner that is controlling and trying to have this, like, parental control over you in a way, that doesn't work. It goes like this, you, like, are
mhm.
you're it's and it was great because actually, in terms of starting my period, I went and explored acupuncture, and acupuncture rewired some stuff and, like, literally got it going again. So, it did get my period going again, and it wasn't too long after that I left my ex.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mhm.
between, these two moments where you really kind of had to rebuild, start over, burn your life down, between the two, which one felt more vulnerable to start over in?
Ooh, that's a really good question because there were such different feelings. Like in ways, I can't explain it, but with my ex-husband, I felt free. Like
Mm,
I felt like an uncaged bird that was being released into the wild because I was not allowed, like my ex-husband tried to control me.
mhm.
So I wasn't allowed to like go out and when I say allowed, I mean I could have done it, but I know what would have happened if I did, that I would have had, we would have gotten in a fight. And so again, I just a lot of times just was like, what is it worth it?
Right.
So I
There were actual consequences. Yeah.
yeah. So there's that, but then with my ex-boyfriend that was like 3 years, it felt I was like really mad at myself for getting myself into another situation that put my kids especially and myself in, you know, in the another environment where it was unsafe for our bodies. Like, I mean, again, I don't mean physically, nothing physical happened, but it wasn't a safe environment. And so I feel like the second one almost was harder to, even though I'm like, when I'm a person that makes my mind up, I like just make it and then I'm done. It was embarrassing. I didn't feel like I failed with my husband because, um, I just didn't. I tried hard, and then I got to a place where I knew that my kids and I deserved better, and then with my ex-boyfriend, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing how he
Mm.
treated me, how he treated the people I loved, and my kids, and so, ultimately, like, that was a really hard lesson to learn, but I think something that I needed to learn because then I was like, "Never mind, I might be lesbian now."
Well, it also sounds like you just really hold yourself in high regard, and when you find yourself in a similar situation, you're like, how did I get back here?" You know? And
How
like
did I get into this? Yeah.
and I feel like the universe has a way of like giving us the same lesson until we finally learn it.
Mhm.
And I feel like each time it gets a little bit more, I don't know, maybe uncomfortable.
I mean, it pushes us in a way where it makes us face our own issues too. And it makes you see your own patterns of behavior because I'm not saying I was perfect in either one of those relationships. It made me, and I think this is one of the biggest things that like you have to recognize is I didn't like who I was when I was with these people,
Mm-hmm.
right? I wasn't aligned. I wasn't authentic to my core, and I couldn't be because I was acting in ways that caused my nervous system to be dysregulated, and then I was in a constant state of distress. So, there's no regulation happening. I was unable to heal from, so I spent 15 years of my adult life in tumultuous relationships that were causing, spikes in adrenaline, spikes in cortisol, all of these things that were making my nervous system just not ever ground. And now that I am in a completely different space in my life, I'm in a such a healthy relationship. It's wild to see how regulated I feel, how aligned I feel, and holy shit, like what is happening around me and the magnetism around me and the energy around me and all of the juicy good shit that's happening is because I fucking had to burn shit down around me to get to this place where I'm at now.
I
Like
love that so much. And it's like being rewarded for like learning the lesson and because what it really boils down to is like your self-worth, like what you think you deserve,
it
like
does.
receiving a partner that's truly like in alignment with you. Something that I really want to ask is so, there's these there's these moments in your relationship where you start to recognize it's toxic, your health is declining as a result of it. But I'm willing to bet there's still a lot of women that stay even when their body is shutting down. I know that
Mhm.
like I had been through a similar situation, but there's a moment where like you're kind of weighing out the risks and the benefits. Like it's still you can still acknowledge that like your health is declining and you're in a toxic situation and still stay because it's the devil, right? So like what
Mhm.
do you think shifted that allowed you to like actually walk away and have the confidence in yourself that you could start over? Or was that a fear for you?
That's a good question. I don't think I had fear of being alone. It wasn't a fear of I'm gonna spend forever alone because I think that self-worth was always there. And so I think where the misalignment was is that I had the self-worth, but I was going against that knowing of knowing that I deserved the world and I was accepting so much less. And so
Mm,
I knew it. I knew I deserved that. I think there was a part of me that was like, I can fix this. Right? Like, I wanted to fix it. I tried so hard, so many ways, and I put so much pressure on myself to be softer, be quieter, not give attitude, just be more digestible for him because, you don't it again, I found myself walking on eggshells
mhm,
and I was making myself less, and I think that when we go against the core of who we are and our being, and our knowing that we know. Our body knows if we really sit with it. And I think it just got to a point where I was like, fuck this. I'm out. Like, I deserve so much better than what I'm being given. My children deserve so much better. I don't ever want my son to treat women like this. And I don't ever want my daughter to think that this is a normal way to be loved. This is not love. So
yeah,
I I said, like, I think you have to get to a place where I'm okay with being alone with just my children and keeping them safe and keeping me safe and knowing that, like, we're good. We don't need anybody. But if someone comes into our life and makes it better, then that's wonderful. And that's great. But I think that's the thing is that you have to get to a place where you are so okay knowing that I'm good by myself. I just deserve better,
mm,
you know?
mhm, absolutely. It yeah, that's such a powerful realization, and it also sounds like the you were playing small in your relationship, like you were accepting less than you deserved in
Mhm.
your relationship, but it also sounds like it was happening in your career as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a reflection of it's funny you say that because I mean, when I was married to my ex-husband, when I was married, I mean, I was charging very little. I was keeping myself small. I was, not financially doing very well. When I left that and got a little bit more courage and built that confidence up, I started, charging more. When I hired a coach, I was able to really get like a grip on wow, I have so much to offer and wow, like I can charge more way more than what I'm charging because what I'm
Mhm.
what I'm doing is high value. It's such a, people value it. And then like with where I'm at now, I'm 6.5 years in to a beautiful relationship that has truly helped me heal. Like when I got into this relationship, I was not healed. I was very traumatized by 15 years of, being verbally and mentally, abused by men. And so I was like, this very nervous. Like, I know that I need to have I literally wrote a list out. I mean, the list was long. I was like, I'm not deviating off this list. Like this person has to have this, because I'd never made a list before. So I wrote a list. Someone told me to do it and I did. And then like not long after, I had a friend that was like, I have to introduce you to somebody. And
It's credible when that happens.
yeah, and I immediately was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm gonna stay away from men for at least a solid year, like, I'm good." And she was like, "Well, just come out dancing, like, let's go out dancing." And so we did, and it was fine, and it was fun, but I had just had this wall up of, like, 0 interest in anyone, and, he messaged me and was like, "Hey, that was fun last night, like, do you wanna go grab, coffee sometime?" And I was like, Are you asking me out on a date? Because I'm not dating right now, but I am down to have a friendship with you if you're cool, like, if you wanna be friends." And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, same, like, I'm actually getting out of a 20-year relationship a 20-year marriage." And so he's like, "Same, I'm good." And I was like, "Okay." So, it was a real slow burn, relationship. We just became really good friends, and I really got to know his heart before anything else, and really realized that he was such a safe person, and he was like he's a literal walking green flag. Again, like, was not somebody that I would've dated prior, but because I had this, like, really final I don't know, I think I had because I had a wall up, because I was like, I just was scared.
Mhm.
He helped break it down, but he's amazing, and I do think that I remember I had a therapist that said, like, when you can find somebody that's a safe person, it's actually better. You heal faster and you can heal quicker with a partner that's a safe person. Because I was able to work through a lot of really, I was in codependent relationships. When you're in an abusive relationship, you're in a codependent relationship.
Mhm.
So I had to heal myself from the codependent tendencies that I had I was really needy. I was like, I needed that constant validation, like, and thank God it didn't like scare him away because but it was, I feel like a long process. I feel like truly probably 2 to 3 years of really working through and having conversations where I'm going, this isn't him. This is me. Like, and doing the inner child work that my therapist taught me, like sitting with myself and being like, what's coming up for me right now? Okay, I'm having feelings of, abandonment, like because I haven't heard from him. So, but that has nothing to do with him. He's at work. Like, he really cares about you. And so going through these things where, or saying to him, like, hey, are you available for a difficult conversation right now? I really need to just tell you how I'm feeling, and it was such a different way of communicating and learning to communicate in new ways, not toxic ways, and now I'm 6.5 years in, and I literally can say that, my business is in the best place that it's ever been. I am selling the highest ticket offer I've ever sold, have 0 codependency issues, and when I say that, I say that with a full
Say it with your chest.
I say it like knowing, like, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Baby, like, you wanna go on a lake trip? Go," like, "Go have fun, bye."
Yeah. Yeah.
I go and travel a lot, like, I'm traveling a lot right now for work, and he stays home, like, he try like, it's beautiful, and I've never had that before, and it's so beautiful, and I've never felt so fully supported by somebody in a way where they're like, "Go, baby, go," like,
Yeah. They're
"You
rooting
got
you
this."
on as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I really appreciate that you kind of like zoomed ahead and like are showcasing like how much like the shift and how much more in alignment you are in your career and your relationship now. And I just want to celebrate you so big. Or are you communicating your boundaries in a different way that you have new tools now that you're entering into this relationship and you're also have like a stronger filter? Do you think that it's like you're attracting someone new at a different frequency, or you're just showing up differently in the relationship that's making the quality of the relationship better?
Mm. I think both, but I definitely think I manifested him into my life. I am a
Yeah.
master manifester, and I say that like, I'm not gonna get into the science behind it. There is a whole science behind manifestation that I fully believe in, but my whole life, like, people will be like, "You're so lucky." I'm like, "No, I manifested it." Like,
Yeah.
before
Like, no,
manifestation
I
was
did
like
that shit.
word, it was like, "No, it didn't just happen." I guess it just happened for me, but it's like I believed that it would, and so it did. I think that when I made that list for me, because let me rewind real quick. When I was dating uh loser number 2, just kidding.
Do you want me to edit that out?
Let's just call it human number 2. When I was with him, I had one of my good friends say to me, if you made a list right now of the qualities of a partner that you desire, of the qualities that you desire in a partner, would he be the list? And I looked straight into her eyes and I said no, with deep knowing that that is not the
It ain't
partner I,
it.
I want to be with. And I didn't
Yeah.
break up with him for a year later. I think that was the beginning of the end, like when I was that question, because it's something that I think about. And I think when I finally decided, like, I'm done, I think that's why I made a list, because I think that I finally, what was the shift was my worth. Was I finally was like, I am worthy of truly attracting in a partner that is a quality human. And what does
Mhm.
it look like? What does this person look like? And when I say, what does this person look like? Looks was not a thing on my list. It was all the qualities in a partner that I deeply desired and was unwilling to settle for ever again. If they didn't meet those things on my list, they were just not going to be somebody I would even consider spending my life with. That just was not even like a consideration. It was like once I had it written out, it was like I had my worth on a piece of paper and was like, this is what you deserve and you're going to get it.
Mhm.
And ironically, the woman that introduced me to my partner now, I read her the list a couple weeks after like we had been friends and I was like, dude, look at my list. And now that like I know him, this is kind of weird. And she like read the list and she was like, girl, that is him to the T. Like what? And I was like, I know, right? But it
Ugh.
was weird because I was like, what? I don't get it. Like what? What? How does this happen? And it was over from there. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
like, wow, like he's such a good human. So, and I
Hell
do
yeah,
think,
you did manifest that.
yeah, yeah. So I think it was a shift in knowing my worth and recognizing my worth and just honestly being so firmly set on I will never allow that again. And then also once
Your
I would,
energy changed as well because like you
yes,
walked away with self-worth, so you're attracting, so yeah, it is both. Like you're
yes.
attracting different people because you're showing up differently in the world, but then also how long you stay in that relationship is now has a stricter filter. Like, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? We're not, in our early 20s, we're not just like wait and see how it goes. Like you're dating with intentionality. You know what triggers you have, like who's, you
Hmm.
know, gonna rewound you, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just navigating, communication with somebody, that's always a new thing, right? But again, showing up differently when you're actually in it is a whole nother learning process that has also contributed to it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I have another relationship question for you. So something
Yeah.
I read a lot about, like whether you're with like a karmic partner or your person, usually like
Mm,
your body feels differently when you meet them. So if maybe we could talk a little bit about like how you felt when you met like your husband or human number two versus your fiance now.
that's really interesting. They say like you shouldn't feel like really nervous, that you should feel just like grounded. My other partners it was like there was some sort of like, well, again, I was coming from a very codependent like space of like really wanting attention and male attention.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is like the first two, I like really was craving like attention.
Mm.
Curtis, my partner now, I was like not wanting attention. And
Mm-hmm.
I was coming from a more reserved place of like allowing something to come to me rather than like forcing something that should never have been forced, right? So I think I can't really say I remember what it feels like when I like first met the first two because I don't even really want to remember, but I will say that like with my partner now, he's just grounding for me. Like, I'm a fire sign, I'm a Leo, like, I got a lot
Same.
of Oh, you are? I love it. Yeah, so we're like fiery girls, and he's a Capricorn. And he's
Mm,
grounded, and he really, really keeps those, like, roots in the ground for me, so he's like my tree, he just
mhm.
feels safe. So he's felt that way.
I love an earth man.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he has and actually it's funny because I know quite a few Leo Capricorn partners that, like girls, female Leo, Capricorn male, and it's funny, it works, but, yeah, it just felt like, really safe, warm, like, cozy energy.
Yeah, like, you didn't have, like, that nervous butterfly feeling, but they also say, like, now that's, like, not even a good feeling to have. It's like your nervous system reacting to, like, a pattern or, that you guys
Yeah.
both hold somewhere.
Well, definitely looking back, like, there were major red flags, and that's something that is, like, hindsight's 2020, but for real, I mean, looking back on both of the other relationships, it's like, "Oh my god, what were you thinking?" Like, that was such a red flag that you just overlooked, and I think that the best term that has come from, like, the last 10 years has been ick, because it just hit me. I was like, "Oh my god, I wish I had that term." Because I was like, there were so many icks. And I wish I had my friend like, I wish I was able to say to my friends, like, oh my God, he did this and it was such an ick, because I probably would have been able to be like, someone would have been like, girl, he's not for you if you're getting all these icks. And I would have been like, yeah, I should fucking leave.
Yeah.
But I mean, because I don't have icks now. Like, it's just like not a thing. It's like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a
Girl,
great
I get
term.
it. Um, so something I really wanna dig into, just because I feel like there's so many people that have these big moments in their life where they come to this reckoning where they need to walk away from something toxic, whether it's a relationship or their job, and they're starting over. But it's fucking scary, right? Like you had mentioned that you moved back in with your mom and you were like, thrifting your furniture. I know that you did say that like you always had like a level of certainty in yourself that you could rebuild, but I'm really curious like what your day to day looked like and like how you would kinda amp yourself up when, I don't know, like, the evidence that things were gonna be okay weren't there, you know what I mean? Like, you were w just trusting the process.
You know, I, I don't know if part of it was because my ex was a firefighter, my ex-husband, and so I spent a lot of time with my kids alone,
Mm,
and so I knew I could do it on my own. Financially, like, I was just like, "I've got this." Like, I didn't let I think, honestly, the biggest thing I see is women letting finances and I mean, it sucks. Like, I understand that it's a real thing. But I'm never gonna let money be the deciding factor of my health and my well-being and my mental well-being or for my kids. And I hope that women, that find themselves in these cycles can, look at their life and say, like, the reason why I am not able to attract in this money or get that, I'm stuck in this situation is because you're stuck and your nervous system is stuck and it is not
mhm,
allowing you to flow.
and it's paralyzing.
It's 100% paralyzing. And when you lean into even though it's scary and you do it anyways, I mean, it's freeing. So scary and so freeing at the same time. And it builds trust. And I think that's the biggest thing that people need to understand is maybe you don't start off with trust, right? Maybe you're like, "Oh, I'm so scared to do this, but I know I have to."
Mhm.
So we don't have all of our trust built up yet that we can do it, but at least like be willing to try. And like taking that leap and trying is like the first little piece of building that trust, that self trust. And then we keep going and we're like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Like, look at me go. And it builds that
Yeah.
self trust. Unfortunately, like, I know so many people that have done that and gone back.
Mm.
And whether it's finances or, um, fear of being alone or it not working out with people and then saying, well, at least there's this person, yeah, it's hard to see because I also know what's on the other side of just feeling really, really good in my own body versus hiding in a closet, crying on a floor, terrified of my life, of my partner, Googling divorce at midnight, not knowing what to do, you know,
Mhm.
literally looking through my contacts going, who could I call? Who could I call? Who can I call and talk to about this? Because I don't think this is normal.
Yeah.
So I know what's on the other side, and you have to take a leap of faith. You have
Yeah.
to trust.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely, like, the leap of faith of leaving the relationship. I guess maybe this like, I have an easier time of answering this because this feels more present for me right now,
Yeah,
is, like so I'm definitely in my rebuild phase. I just finished cancer treatment 2 months ago, and rebuilding for me is I know one of my hangups is sometimes I'll get a little bit like scatterbrained or foggy on what my next move is. And it's in
Mhm.
these moments I know that I'm consuming too much information. Like,
Mm.
like, oh, I'm going to start this business or I'm hiring too many coaches and I'm like not listening to my intuition. And really what breaks me out of this is honoring actions. Like, so for me, clarity comes from taking action. Like that I
Mhm.
kept my promise that I was gonna finish a task and then I follow through it, or I like learn a new skill on my own. And each time I complete something, I get like both a confidence and a competence boost. And I'm like, oh, things are gonna work out. Look at me go. It's like little steps that
Mhm.
are the building blocks that keep you from kind of falling back into that like black hole pit of like woe is me, like depression, like, oh, you know what I mean? That scary place.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious if you remember, like, as you were rebuilding, like, what
Yeah,
evidence did you have that things were improving for you? Especially like when you were like maybe feeling uncertain, or you're like, wow, like I was married, I had this like, great life on the outside, and now I'm living with my mom and restarting over, and maybe there's like some shame around there, or I'm just
totally.
curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's definitely like it was embarrassing. I mean, it was really hard to be back in that space. And then when I actually left my boyfriend after my husband, I went back and lived with my mom again because
You're like, hey, mom.
he wouldn't
Yeah.
leave the house. And so I had to wait until we could get this, squatter out of my house to move back in. And so
Wow,
um
that does sound really toxic.
yeah, so bad. I think it was surrounding myself with people. Like, I'm such a community person, and I think I really found in both of those relationships that I was not really surrounding myself with a ton of people. I didn't really have a community. I didn't really have, like, very close friends that I felt like I could call, and so I think, leaning on people to be like, "Hey," actually dancing helped me for sure get out
Moving your
of the
body. Yeah.
I mean, that
Get
was
out of the
like
house and meet people.
a super healing thing after my divorce, for sure. I danced a whole entire summer. I would, like, be drenched in sweat and go to the bar and be like, "Give me another water," and the bartender's like, "Okay." I'm all, "Be back in 10." And I'm like, "Doo, doo, 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 doo." It was like my body just being like, letting everything go. There's something so healing about dancing and being in your body. So I think that, I don't really know if I'm answering this question right, but
No, no, I think this resonates a lot because it sounds like so you've mentioned on a number of occasions that both these relationships were codependent, and oftentimes in codependent relationships, you are more isolating. Like you're probably not checking in with your friends as much. So you're saying like as you're rebuilding, like a cornerstone to like it being successful and you staying on your path was surrounding yourself with community,
Mhm.
moving your body, and like, yeah, taking those big leaps of faith. It sounds like for the most part, you've always had that through line of like confidence in yourself, you know, like
Yeah,
which I think not every woman or man does. But I think that in combination with it putting yourself out there and somatically moving your body were like huge, um, uh,
huge.
yeah, huge for you.
Dancing with my kids, I mean, going on walks, going on hikes, like, just, again, like, moving my body and grounding. I did go on, like, right after my divorce, I went on my first, yoga retreat with a woman, again, that I manifested probably into my life, and we're still friends to this day. Um, and honestly, that was, like, so great because being able to I'd never really done yoga, like, I had never gone on a retreat. I'd never been out of the country, like, without like, by myself, and so doing scary things where I'm practicing trusting my intuition and still doing scary things and going, "Okay, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. I'm more than
Hmm.
okay." This is it's just rebuilding that, you know, learning to work with myself and my intuition and trusting and yeah, and literal practices of being around women that were gonna lift me up and so, yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
it's interesting too because I'm in a space now where I feel so lucky because I have built great friendships. And I think that's because I'm finally in a place where it's safe to build friendships, you know? Like I don't have a person that's trying to keep me in the dungeon. So, you know, I value community so deeply. First
Of
15
your
years of my adult life,
yeah.
right? I was really, like, separated from my friends when I met my husband, um, and now I'm rebuilding, and I'm getting to rebuild it how I want it, and so now I'm building community with women, and it's so beautiful and so juicy, and I love it so much. There's so much healing that happens when women come together, and, um, yeah,
Yeah. Just listening to you talk about, like, where you're at now, like, it just feels so much like you are in charge of your own life, like, you are the creator of your own existence.
even when I was married, I think I still had the ability, I just didn't know what I was doing, and I
Mhm.
wasn't in tuned with that muscle in my body to know how powerful I am, um, in that sense, and I really wasn't attuned with, you know, my own energy other than knowing that I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I don't even know, baby. It is like
That's that inner work.
oh, I just, like, want everybody I want every single woman to, like, feel this way, you know? Like, I just feel so good. I feel so happy. Like, life doesn't like, I mean, my life is great. I am living a beautiful life now, and it feels like a fucking dream, especially from the hellhole that I crawled out of, and, man, if women that were in this hellhole could realize that they could rebuild and that they have the power to do that, like, right here, you know, that that they can. But
Yeah.
it's them that's stopping them from
Yeah.
doing it. It's nobody else except you.
Yeah. It's recognizing that tapping into that inner knowing, getting familiar with your intuition, and yeah, taking that leap of faith, betting on yourself. You know?
Totally.
I think this is a really great segue to just really kind of talk about what you're doing now and how you empower women these days and the types of communities that you're building.
Well, funny enough, I the last thing that I have shed was not a relationship, but it was a relationship with the wedding industry, and
Mm.
I was a wedding photographer for 10 years, and I had this feeling that I'd show up to weddings and I'd be like, "I don't think I wanna do weddings anymore." You know, I like, I'm not loving this anymore, and I just again, it just could that voice would not go away, that inner knowing would not go away, and I just finally was like, "I think I'm done," and I announced it. Uh, actually, I what I did was January of 2025, the year of the snake, which is so amazing. Uh, the first, okay, New Year's Day, I flew to Costa Rica onto another women's retreat. This is my 3rd women's retreat that I went to in Costa Rica, and I left there certain that my purpose was to work with women and that it was my soul's calling to create a safe space for women, to work with women to help them feel embodied, feel confident, feel safe in their bodies. So that I knew that I had this like gift that was so much more than being a photographer. It was like, I don't even like introducing myself as a photographer anymore or tell like that's not just what I do. I feel like that gives all of the power to the camera, and that's not fair because yes, while the camera I'm doing all the settings and stuff, it's so much more. I'm doing mirror work with these women. I'm holding space for these women. I'm setting intentions. I'm curating the energy behind every shoot. And even in a 5-minute shoot with somebody, I can pull out this like childlike energy with them that just like you see them glow a little bit. You see them feel a little bit safer and feel a little bit like, "Oh, she
Mhm.
okay." Like,
Yeah.
and, "Oh, I like her." And then it comes out, and then I get
Yeah.
those and then I get that I see I hear women I hear it all the time. Like, "Oh, I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know." It's a very vulnerable thing to be
It
photographed.
is.
And it's scary for a lot of women. And I remind them, like, I'm here for you. I will help you. Don't worry. It's like I'm holding your hand. And then they forget within 2 minutes that what they're doing. And I show them the photos and they go, "Oh my God, who is that? Like, look at that. Look at what you did." And I'm like, "No, girl, that's you. Like, I didn't do anything. Like, this is you. I'm just showing you. I'm reminding you of who you are."
Yeah.
And
That's exactly what you're doing is you're reminding them who they are, and I kind of feel like I'm a little get a little bit emotional because as you're talking about it, I'm one of those women that's I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I have very little body awareness, and there's nothing worse than there's something vulnerable about having your photo taken, that drop in your stomach when someone's not in it with you and
Mhm.
is not holding space appropriately and they're just like, "Here's this photo of you," and you just kind of wanna crawl into space, and it's like confirming it's almost confirming, like, your worst beliefs about yourself when someone's not yeah, working with your energy with you, holding space, like, helping you feel safe in your container, like, the amount of times I'm just like, "Don't even send me the photo," like, I don't
Mhm.
like, now I feel worse about myself.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have been told that this woman has never liked a photo of herself, and when I deliver the entire gallery, she's like, "Oh my god, I'm obsessed with myself. I'm obsessed." Like, "What?" And I love every single one. And it like doesn't validate me as a photographer. I know I'm good at taking photos. It validates that, and I really have only been able to verbalize this in the last, you know, year and a half. Like, it's so much more than taking their photos. Like, I'm doing something magical with these women.
Yeah. You're helping them embody like the highest version of themselves. This is so powerful. There's nothing better than receiving a portfolio of beautiful photos of yourself where you just feel confident and magnetic and you can't wait to share it with people.
And I think something important that we forget is photos are tied to experiences. Every single photo is tied to an experience, and that experience is tied to a feeling, and that feeling is tied to something in our body and our nervous system and like how we were feeling in that moment. Were we feeling grounded or were we feeling scared and clenched up and our energy was clenched up, or were we expanded and lighter and flowier? I was literally just looking at these photos of culling is what we call it when we're looking through photos.
Mhm.
And I was able to photograph my daughter's like 5th grade best friend. She's a senior now. My daughter's a
Mhm.
senior. This friend, they've gone their own ways, but I knew this girl when she was in elementary school. She'd come to my house all the time. And I was in awe of like what I captured of this girl. Like, I was looking at this and I was like, I captured her entire essence. I cannot wait to deliver this gallery because her moms are going to cry, and B, this girl is going to feel so empowered and so beautiful. And
Mhm.
man, like, this is why it's like I can't niche down in terms of the only people I'm gonna ever work with are going to be, like, business owners, even though that's, like, really, like, that's mostly what I work with, but I'm like,
Mhm.
it's so good to just help girls and women feel beautiful, and not just feel beautiful, but, like, see their own beauty
Mhm.
in themselves, like, and feel it, and feel like, "Oh my god, that is me."
Yeah.
And it
That's
immediately
healing.
it is,
That's
and it
healing.
so healing to everything and everybody that, told us that we needed to be skinnier, we needed to, like, have a different, nose or, like, whatever it was that we were it's like, it's not about that. You're feeling you. You are,
Mhm.
like, literally seeing who you feel at who you are with every day. Your soul, you're
Mhm.
seeing your soul. And so it's such a deeper, more expansive experience than just taking photos. And so, yeah, I'm like, I love what I do. And, I have, since I decided to let go of weddings, it's like kind of crazy how it just has, once I let that go, it just propelled me into a forward motion of, again, calling in and attracting in people that were like, "Hey, can you photograph this retreat? Hey, can I hire you to photograph all of my retreats all this year?" Putting
Mhm.
rooms with women that are, making so much money and have so much to teach me. And I just had this recent download and recent experience. I should say it's like I went to a retreat with one of the women in the retreats that I've met, and it was the most expansive moment I've had in terms of growth, like growth mindset. I think I placed people on a hierarchy of like money. Like
Mhm.
if they make more money, then like what could they learn from me? If they make more money, like I'm down here because like I'm only getting paid like, a few thousand or
Mhm.
whatever to like be in this room, and like they're paying so much money to be in here, and it's like I was like putting myself below them in a way. And just a week ago, I had this like crazy like wake up to, oh my God, there's no hierarchy, like at all. We're all human, living and walking and breathing on this earth. And we all have things we can learn from each other. Like everybody is living a human experience. And I have so much to offer. And I might not be at the, place yet financially, but I can definitely help you soften and expand and settle into your nervous system and feel a little bit more flowy and feminine and help capture that magic for you. So,
And it
yeah.
is magic, and I could God, I'm just, like, I'm feeling your energy, like, I'm just amped from your energy because I love seeing people do something that they love because now you've, like, unlocked all these opportunities and you're in your I don't wanna keep using alignment. I'm like, where are the other words that I used to use? But, like, you know what I mean? It's just like you're living your life's purpose
Mhm.
and, like, yeah, it's
I mean, I
just so
truly
cool
am.
to witness. You know that you're on the right track when you're energized by your work, like, you just wanna keep going. I feel like that's such a good indicator of, like,
Yeah.
that's that confirmation that you're doing your life's purpose work.
Yeah. I mean, just recently, this last like few weeks, I was riding what my coach calls it is like riding the wave of the quantum leap. And sometimes people get really scared and they'll jump off and they'll just kind of land back into like where they were or whatever and stay a little stuck. And I like rode the wave and I was like so excited. I couldn't sleep. I was like, what's happening? Like, I literally sleep so well at night. Like, when I was going through this, I was like, this is amazing. I mean, I was like getting all of these downloads of business concepts and ideas that I wanted to implement where the Bad Bitch Collective came in to play and all of this. And, so yeah.
Yeah, that resonates so much. Well, as we kind of, like, wrap up, what's the best way for people to follow you, work with you? Just drop all of the details.
If you want to see me be really weird and silly and just follow along with my life stories, I'm pretty good at in the stories of Instagram. You can follow me there. I think that's probably the best. It's Tori, Torey_photo. Um, I love connecting with people. I love following along other people's journeys. I do also have a website. It's toryphoto.com. And I will be, hosting a retreat in 2027, early 2027 out here in the desert. That's just dropped in the last couple of days. So follow along. And I also have a really expansive, amazing solo retreats that I'm offering for women to come out and do a 2-day pretty intensive, immersive experience where their whole intention is to receive and let go and flow and completely like learn how to be magnetic feminine goddesses.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we took the opportunity to really dig into what you've been working on now and specifically the photography piece. I didn't realize it was going to be such a spiritual experience talking about photography, but like as you started talking, I was like, wow, 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 wow. Like there's the healing, you know what I mean? Like that the way that you see your career is so impactful. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I don't think I've run into too many photographers that or like I'm changing people's lives, but like you are.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think that people know what they have. I think maybe I should help photographers realize the magic that we have and the healing that we, can do and the damage that you also can do with
Yeah.
people. You got to be really careful when you're working in a space like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that moment when you were just talking about like sharing when you get to capture their essence and they get to receive that and feel good about themselves, immediately I went to the how the opposite feels, and that's when I was like I was like, wow, I'm feeling really emotional because I've definitely had those moments where someone took a photo and you could just tell there wasn't a lot of care into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, thank you for listening to me and asking me all these questions and hearing my story. It's, pretty vulnerable. I've never actually publicly like told it. I mean, I have like occasionally dove into that I've, lived those relationships, but, it is
Yeah.
interesting going
You have
from
exactly like the type of story that I'm hoping to share. The last couple years, I've worked with many coaches, but I'm also a certified coach. And as I was on my coaching journey, I recognized I don't really want to do one-on-one coaching. I don't even want to do a group coaching program. I'm either facilitating or storytelling. And I
oh,
think there's so much healing that can be done within storytelling. The lessons, the wisdom that you pick up in someone's story is just as impactful as having someone sit down in front of you and help you unpack your inner child, your wounds and things like that. Like I like to facilitate experiences where you're helping people move their body and dropping in, or again storytelling. So,
yeah, I love that.
yeah.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
We
But
definitely
I had to try out all the other coaching like modalities first, and I was just this one-on-one stuff ain't it for me. I kept trying to fix people or give them a solution, and I'm like, "No, I'm just supposed to help them arrive at their." I couldn't
wait,
do it.
like, yes, that's exactly what it is. It's that like we can't fix anybody, right? And we can only give our own lived experience. We can share in ways that helped heal but yourself and your own like experiences, but that doesn't mean that that person is going to take that and go with it. They have to arrive when they're ready.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
help them, which is beautiful, but I do think like the power of connection and the power of telling stories is and shared vulnerability is really powerful.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so honored that you were a guest on It's Giving Phoenix today,
I
and
am
I can't
too.
you're in Tucson, so I can't wait to see you at IRL. Thank you for being here and for choosing growth even when it's uncomfortable. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or send it to someone navigating their own transformation. If you're keen to join the It's Giving Phoenix community, link is in the show notes. See you next episode.